5. We just left low at LHO, and first view, Manaslu here. It was big, white, and beautiful, and a big white pyramid when we woke up this morning. Get a little bit more cloudy, but in general, the mornings are pretty sunny, good light. By 2-3 p.m. usually the clouds start to roll in. So yeah, try to do most of your hiking in the morning because you'll probably get the best views. But here we go, first view of Manaslu. We're on to day 5. We just saw our first yak on day 5 at 3,200 meters. That tells me we're getting higher in the mountains because yaks can't exist below 3,000 meters. So yeah, so more Tibetan culture, more yaks, yak burgers, yak momo. Now we're starting to get high and we're getting real close to the border of Tibet. This village is so beautiful. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest villages on the trail, and it's flat, which you also love. Just the stonework, the river flowing through the village. It's not just guest houses. It's probably 90% real houses and then a few guest houses for tourists. So really wonderful, wonderful way to set off for Tal Lake, Maklu Base Camp, and then ultimately Larke Pass. Day 5, it's short. It's 11 a.m., 3-hour day. Nice little rest day after a long day yesterday. We're in this Samagaun guest house, and we'll probably do a little day hike to Tal Lake, 1 hour up, 1 hour down, back to Samagaun, and then just keep it kind of a nice easy day as we prepare to keep ascending higher from here. Tal Lake. This is a really great acclimatization hike. It's only an hour up, hour down, and yeah, it's only 200 meters. Path is real gentle, so if you've got 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon, check this lake out. It's a great hike from Samagaun. Ooh, just went swimming in Tal Lake. It is cold. That water comes right out of the glacier, baby. Day 5. These are my 3 words. Number 1 is Tal Lake, and that's a beautiful glacial lake, and I went swimming in it. It was very cold. I was only in there about 10 seconds. And second word is Manaslu and Manaslu Base Camp. Got to see the base camp today and little peaks of the mountains in between the clouds. Really cool. And then third word is Flat Valley. Unexpected, nice 30-minute walk into Samagaun today, and that was a huge treat. So great. Day 5. Okay, as you're trekking the Manaslu Circuit, one of the things you gotta get is the Snickers spring roll. I know it sounds crazy. What is that? What is a Snickers spring roll? I had my doubts at first. It's a Snickers dropped in rolled in batter and then deep fat fried, and it's amazing. Sometimes it costs 350, 400 rupee, but it's really worth it. Here's a little picture. Check it out. Okay. It's a Snickers, and it's fried, and you're gonna be really happy you got it because it's nice and hot and amazing. So good. Day 6, October 6, 2019. We're heading out of Samagaun today, a little bit early. We don't have a long day, only 4 or 5 hours, but There's only 2 guest houses there, so we just want to make sure we get there before the beds fill up. So here behind me, as we're walking out of town, is a little tourist checkpoint. You have to go through a couple of these as you go through the Manaslu National Park. You'll need to, your guide will register your permit in these places. It's usually just a 5-minute stop. Good morning. It's 8:30 in the morning. We just crossed the shade into the sun, and boy, are we happy. It's warming up the body, feeling good. So a little note on sunrise times, beginning of October. Generally, you'll see sun peeping through your window about 6:30. That's when the light kind of floods the horizon, but you probably won't see the sun come over the mountains until maybe 7:30. And then by the time it even makes it to the valley here, above 3,000 meters, probably be 8:30. So just time your starts correctly. Make sure you get your clothes dry. I generally prefer to do the most of the hike in the morning because it is clear, whereas in the afternoons it's getting a little bit cloudy, colder, windier. So yeah, I try to get an early start at 7:30, bust out most of the hiking, get early to camp. In general, most of your days in the beginning are going to be 6 to 8 hours, going to be longer days. And then once you hit about 3,000 meters, you're going to slow your pace down for a little bit of acclimatization, and then you're probably going to do more like 4 to 5 hour days, and you'll appreciate that, which means you can probably get in by lunch or late lunch if you're really working hard and leaving early in the morning. So that's really nice, and then you just have the afternoons just to rest, acclimatize, and do a little day hike in the afternoon. So yeah, that's generally the schedule we've been. Right now we're heading to Samdo. From Samdo we go to Dharamsala, and then Dharamsala is the big day where we go over Larke Pass, over the high point, over the Manaslu Circuit trek at 5,100 meters. Okay, we're walking up to Samdo. Last 20 minutes is hard, so honestly you gain about 80% of your elevation from Samagaun to Samdo in the last 20 minutes. So this is a breather, but we're almost there, and then we'll be happy to have a little tea. Okay, we're at Samdo guest house. Super interesting feature about this guest house, you're only about a 5-hour walk from the Nepal Tibetan Plateau border. So these mountains right here are the border into China. So that's pretty amazing. So actually, we're not doing it, but sometimes you can, as a part of your acclimatization rest day, you can sleep 2 nights here at Samdo and then do about 5-hour hike up to the pass at the border, and then about 3-4 hours down. So that's a full 8 hours. We're not going to do that because I'd rather rest a little bit and acclimatize more. But if you have a free extra day, that could be a cool extra hike from Samdo to the China-Nepal border. So just a note on internet. Yeah, you probably, if you're doing a trek, you probably only get internet maybe 2 or 3 nights out of the whole trek. So don't have super high expectations regarding Wi-Fi, but you might get a few nights, especially in the lower valleys, elevations at 1,000, maybe 2,000 meters. But here, no internet. Supposedly the sign advertises Wi-Fi, but no dice. doing a little acclimatization day hike just for 2 hours. You can see Samdo, that's our guest house where we're staying tonight on the day 6. But we got into our guest house so early at 10 a.m. that I didn't just want to sit around. There's not really so much to do in those little villages, so you basically can see the whole village in 5 minutes. So we're doing a little hike just for some Tibetan prayer flags. You can see the views are just stunning. It's October and it's harvest time. These fields you see behind me, they're all potatoes. So you gotta try the local potatoes as you hike around Manaslu because they're really good. They're really small, kind of the brown, little round potatoes. And yeah, you can see them harvesting below. They're even using a battery-powered weed whacker down there. So it's amazing the technology that makes it up here on a donkey's back. Spend some time during your trek just to walk through some villages, play with some kids. These villages are so beautiful. I can't think of anything more charming and cozy and homey than these stone houses, and the people are so friendly. So I think that's something for me that really makes a trek so worthwhile and so much more than just a hike in pretty mountains, is that you have these beautiful villages and villagers. And all these houses are all handmade without any sort of glue or mortar or anything. They just hand place the stones using only a hammer and hands. It's pretty amazing. All right, day 6. We hiked from Samagaun to Samdo. It was a short hike this morning, only 3 hours. And then we had the rest of the day to rest. So my 3 words today are, number 1, tree line, because we passed the tree line this morning and we're now at 33,800 meters. Quite high here. Number 2 is Tibet border. We're just a few kilometers from the Tibet border, which is really amazing. In fact, there's actually a little trading town that trades Tibetan goods, where Tibetans come over the border and bring some of their merchandise and jewelry for trading. And my 3rd word is chilly. It's definitely fall weather. We're not quite at freezing for nights yet, but we're pretty darn close to. This is right around Samdos, where you're gonna need your puffy and your big jacket, and you're gonna appreciate your warm winter clothes. In fact, I'm a little chilly right now, so I'm gonna get in the bed. Whoa! Good morning. It's 6:30 a.m. and it is chilly out, but the sun is coming over the ridges, and there's a beautiful view over all the peaks around us, looking at 6,000, 7,000 meter snowy peaks behind us. You can see some of the peaks here. So yeah, had a pretty good night's sleep, except there's a dog barking for 12 hours straight, so that was a little bit annoying. Made my sleep a little bit intermittent, but this is day 7 on October 7th, and we are going from 3,800 meters in Samdo to up 600 meters to the last Teahouse before the high pass, Dharamsala. So that's where we're going. Probably about a 4 to 5 hour hike today, and we're stoked to get a little bit higher. Tonight we'll be sleeping at 4,400 meters. Then the next day we'll be ascending the pass at 5,100 meters. Marker with a little flag on it. Doesn't look like much, but in the springtime, especially March, April, May, when trekkers are coming through here doing the Manaslu Circuit trek, these markers will actually mark the trail where the trail is covered with snow. We're walking through a little herd of yaks. We got some black ones, brown ones, really cool. Looking at Dharamsala guest house, 4,400 meters. This is the last place to sleep before you go over Larke Pass. All right, Dharamsala, this is it. Feels a little bit more like a rugged base camp above tree line, something like you'd see at the base of Everest than it does an actual guest house or hotel. A couple tents out here, probably some expeditions working on climbing Larke Peak. So yeah, this is rugged nature. Okay, so we're at the Dharamsala high camp, preparing to climb Larke Pass tomorrow. We'll probably get up around 4 in the morning, just so the snow conditions are better. I want to show you a little bit of what the conditions are like here in the camp. So this is the bathroom. It's actually 2 squatty potties with a little bit of a bucket flush. So of course there's not really any running water here, so they just get the water from the river. And very simple shack with tables. This is the dining hall area, so you'll probably be eating with your fellow trekkers here. And yeah, it's cozy, but it's definitely a nice place to get out of the wind. For rooms, you got these simple tin sheds, and they're generally kind of dorm style rooms, so you'll probably be sharing beds with a few other people because space is at such a premium here, and it's obviously not easy to build anything up high at above 4,000 meters. You can probably expect to, even if you're a solo traveler, to be sleeping with a few other fellow trekkers. So if you're a group, you might get away with just having a room to yourself. But yeah, tin shacks, simple mattress inside. They do have blankets here if you don't have a sleeping bag, which is true for all the tea houses. I did not bring a sleeping bag, and I've been totally fine. They provided a blanket for me every night. It is 5:45 in the morning. We got about a 4:30 start, so we've been hiking about an hour and 15 minutes. And the sun is already coming over these mountains, which is great. Last night it snowed, so there's a fresh blanket of about an inch of snow on the trail. It's really beautiful. You can see the trail behind us. We are heading up. So this is our early morning start. It's probably about 4 hours from the Dharamsala guest house to Larke Pass. So we're about an hour into it, about 3 more hours of this awesome beauty, and we are getting to experience the sunrise over Larke Peak. About 2 hours in, and we're walking through this rocky barren land that is covered with snow, just past this beautiful alpine lake, and this is great. Just taking it real slow and easy. A note on pacing, we started out with a bit of a group that was a little bit fast for my pace. I probably could have kept up with them, but I felt like I was getting a little bit sweaty, and once you get sweaty out here, you get cold real quick. So walk your own walk, hike your own hike. Walk your own pace. If you gotta walk slow, take real slow, intentional steps. You'll get there eventually. There's no race. You don't have to get in front of a group or try to get to the Teahouse the fastest. So, in general, that's a good rule of thumb for the whole hike. So, but in particular, when high altitude, just walk real slow. You don't have to go fast. Just slow and steady. It'll almost feel like you're walking too slow, but keep your feet intentionally slow and. You're breathing slow, and I think you'll be really happy, and that'll minimize your altitude sickness. This is a fun little section. We're crossing some frozen icy lakes, so watch out where you step here. And there's actually even a lake right here that's not frozen, amazingly. It's beautiful. About 30 minutes from Larke Pass. It's a nice little flat section before the last uphill. All right, last 15 minutes here. You can see Larke Pass right behind me. A bunch of people up there look like ants. That's where we're going, and from there it's all downhill. Ooh, this last hour has been probably the hardest of one of the treks. It's not particularly steep, but just the altitude plus the snow makes it a really slow, difficult climb, but just kept a steady pace, kept it slow, and we're almost there. Super excited. There it is, friends. Larke Pass. We made it. Larke Pass! This is the highest point on the Manaslu Circuit track. Prayer flags, sun is shining. It's an awesome day. Larke Pass. Man, it was windy up there. That's probably the coldest I've ever been. We kind of descended down into a whiteout here and following the trail of donkeys here. Probably can't see more than 20 meters ahead of us. Descent from the Larke Pass. This is probably the trickiest section of the entire trail. It's really steep. And in our case, we had about a foot of snow. So it was really slidey, because it was really slidey, powdery snow. And in some sections, probably there's a 15% grade. And you're coming downhill. And even without the snow, you have, there's quite a bit of loose gravel. So normally I would say trekking poles are kind of just a luxury to protect your knees. In this case, I'd say trekking poles are a necessity. I would absolutely put them as a mandatory item on the packing list. You're really gonna need them coming down off to Larke Pass. It's seriously slippery, and you're coming down a knife edge ridge, and there's some places where there's 300-400 meter drops. And you're really gonna need your poles, because if you took the wrong step there, you could really be in trouble. So anyway, bring trekking poles, and the descent is really difficult, probably twice as steep as the ascent to Larke Pass. We've reached the Fady Teahouse about 3 hours after the summit. We are ready for a nice warm drink of tea. Day 8, we just reached Bhimthang, and we descended from the Larke Pass today. My 3 words are windy. It was really windy up there. Snowfall, this is beautiful snow going up the mountain this morning, and sunrise over the lake. We're so happy to be here at 3,600 meters, and yeah, we're just on the way down. Day 8, this is where we're staying in Bhimthang, the new Tibetan guest house. We just dropped from 5,100 meters to 3,600 meters. That's 1,500 meters drop in about 4 hours. So, our knees are tired, and I'm ready for a little rest. Plus, we got up at 4 a.m. this morning to go over Larke Pass. Day 9 of our trek, October 9th, 2019, and we are walking down to Dharipani. Today we got 8 hours of walking down to our very final destination. We're going to sleep in Dharipani tonight at about 1,900 meters, and then tomorrow we're going to catch a taxi back to Kathmandu. That's going to be probably about a 10 to 12 hour drive. So we got a long day ahead of us, but it's all descent. Right now we're at around 3,600 meters. We're going to descend to 1,900 meters, so we're going to lose a lot of elevation. Some people that are doing the Manaslu base camp trek, they actually come this way. This way is a lot steeper than coming from Sotikola. So we recommend starting at Sotikola because this way is a lot harder going up. So basically we gained all of our elevation in 8 days, and then we lost it in 2 days. So gradual acclimatization with a pretty quick descent. But we're happy. We have some pretty thick air and a lot more oxygen to breathe. After yesterday's descent, that was really difficult, probably the most difficult part of the trek. And now we're happy to be losing some elevation and heading down to Goa. Only been walking 10 minutes, and right out of Bhimthang, we're already looking at these beautiful mountains right here, 7,345 meters behind us, and it just keeps getting better and better as we descend down to Dharipani today. The trail today is pine forest, which is really pleasant. So it's quite shaded. You're walking downhill, a little bit of water on the trail, but not too bad. And you're walking through this really nice mossy forest. It's a really great way to exit. the Manaslu Circuit trek is that you're just constantly changing environments. In the trek, I'd say you at least walk through at least 4 different biomes, from tropical all the way up to alpine. And as we descend down to Dharipani today, this is so true. We're walking through old growth forest, just like you'd see in the Hoh rainforest of the Pacific Northwest of America in Washington State. And yet there's also these huge 7,000 meter mountains right behind us. So it's just so much diversity, and we're walking along this rushing river, and it's just always changing. It's always interesting. It's always new. Any given day of these hikes, people would pay a lot of money just to do one day hike here, and yet you're walking through it all and you're seeing so much diversity. So it's definitely not the same hike every day, and it goes all the way from ferns and rainforest to snow above tree line. So you'll love it, and every day's changing, every day is new. The last bridge of the trail. We're gonna be at Dharipani in about 5 minutes. It's just over here behind the bushes. Can't see it, but yeah, what an amazing journey. It's just been one of the best treks I've done in my whole life. I've trekked all through America, the Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest Trail, trekked Africa, done a lot of China, Tibet, and this is almost hands down one of the most beautiful, splendid experiences I've ever had in my life. So can't recommend Manaslu Trek enough to you guys. It's been amazing. So my 3 words for today are, number 1, continuous descent. We have lost 1,600 meters going down to Dharipani, and that's been a lot of fun. It's been a nice change from just the kind of the grueling uphill, and that's been fun to change ecosystems and come down through the pine forests. Number 2 word is favorite, because this has probably actually been my favorite day. I don't know why, it's just so much beauty. I think I was able to enjoy it a little bit more because I was going downhill rather than going uphill. And just a lot of the scenery reminded me of the White Mountains of New Hampshire, the rainforests of Washington, the Yosemite Park. Just a lot of places I've lived in and hiked over my life has reminded me. And number 3 word, finished. There it is, boys and girls, Dharipani. The very end of the trail. From that point, that little guest house right there, we're gonna sleep tonight, and then a car is gonna take us back to Kathmandu. Woo! Ready for a hot shower and some good warm food. This is where the Manaslu Trek ends and the Annapurna Trek begins. So I just finished 10 days on the trail doing the Manaslu Trek. But if you're a real wild person, or you got a lot of time off work, or you're retired, you can actually start the Annapurna Trek right here. The Annapurna Trek can range, the whole circuit can be about 17, 18 days, but you can do parts of it in as little as 5 days. So that's a horseshoe around Annapurna, which is the 10th tallest mountain in the world. We just walked around Manaslu, which is the 8th tallest mountain in the world, both of which are spectacular treks. And you can also hike to Annapurna Base Camp. So you can either do the horseshoe, or you can kind of walk a line right to the middle of the horseshoe to the Base Camp trek. So all those are great treks and highly recommended. But yeah, this concludes our Manaslu Trek. Okay, we have finished the Manaslu Circuit Trek, and we're driving from Dharipani. We're about an hour and a half drive outside of Dharipani here, and this is our little village 4-wheel drive taxi. And you can see the terrain we're driving through is really intense. Just drove through this crazy landslide and almost came up the mountain. But fortunately the drivers here are really skilled. So thankful for these guys. They drive these vehicles with great talent. Thanks for checking us out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us for more information on travel in the Himalayas.